right, so for this interview, I am interviewing my mother, and she's going to discuss Pinterest with us, and we're going to go over some design features and usability of Pinterest across different mobile platforms. So first of all, tell us a little bit about Pinterest itself, in case anyone doesn't know.
Pinterest for me is it's a tool to visually gather anything that interests you into a visual platform. In other words, the photos of things that you like. Things for me, I like design. I like decorating, so I will pin photos into a particular group so that I can get visual, interest on things that I might want to do, might want to, change to my house, might want to, people will do it for places to visit. Many people do it for,
So how does Pinterest, the app itself, usability-wise, make that easier for you compared to anything else?
For me, it was life-changing.
Of course.
Because I am a very visual person.
Okay.
And I organize things like I see things visually. So for me to be able to put something in a category and pull up a page with all these different images, it was huge creatively. Gives a lot of creative inspiration. Right. So it's organizing things rather than in lists, rather than in, ideas of websites or whatever. The visual picture itself is big for me personally because I am a visual person. So that part, I was thrilled when it started.
And as you're using it, when you first started using it, did it take a lot to get to know, to understand all the different little features of it, or was it a pretty dive right in, you know what you're doing?
It was pretty easy. It was very basic when I began. I began in the beta stage. I was literally, one of those where you logged in, had a login. Then they tried to push a Facebook login to kind of, broaden it. But I think at that time it was very easy. The typical thing of, trying to understand, okay, where is this going? What am I doing? Why am I pinning a bunch of pictures? Was like, okay, I get it. This is for me. So when I go back, recipes is a great example. I go back to recipes all the time. And, sure, it's easy to read a recipe and you get all the words and whatever, but to see the picture of what you want to create, granted, It's never going to look exactly like the Pinterest picture. But, I think it was well organized and it was easy to use.
Excellent. All right. Now, one of the interesting things that we have with you is the fact that you've just recently started using an Android tablet compared to always having iPhones and iPads and things like that. How has Pinterest moved from one to the other? Are there major differences? Is there anything that didn't work, or was it very, very consistent between them?
Let's just start with, first of all, going from an Apple to an Android. It is a difference. It is a change. It is difficult to be like, okay, how do I get it from A to B?
I still haven't mastered it myself.
Truly, there are things that I'm like, how do I get that? Where did I get it last time?
That can bring some frustration for sure.
I will say that within Pinterest, it's very user-friendly, very much like an Apple product. Very similar.
Between the two?
Yes, very similar between the two.
One of them that we noticed was just that they both very easily do the common pull down to refresh.
Yes.
That's something that doesn't change between the two major operating systems.
Right. And there are some visual differences, when I go to my boards, as they're called. And actually, as you can see, we've got I don't know if you can see because you're going to get that little screen problem. There's some things that they're on the top on one of them. On the Android, they're on the bottom, such as, the settings or things like that. Those are simple things you kind of get used to. So, but all the basic items are on each page.
How you pin it, how you move it, how
I
looks.
do it.
Okay.
The visual, look is very similar. How I swipe from one to the other, how I save something.
Now, are there any social components with this? Do you see how other people are pinning? Are you seeing, can you share to other social medias? Can you?
Yes. As I
Okay.
said in the beginning, it was set up as a beta platform, where you just did a login kind of till they, set it out to the, mass market. They really, really pushed the Facebook scenario to kind of, push it forward. So yes, you can link to Facebook.
Okay.
I personally choose not to because I don't like to cross, my social medias. This is just something I like the way I have it. I don't want to, I don't want to have to share what I'm pinning with a million people who really don't care what I'm pinning. But there are definitely ways in which I have shared recipes. You can share, among people that you know or don't know. I've been asked because they see that I pin a lot of things, for example, for sewing or clothing, sewing children's clothes. I've been asked to join a board in order to, provide information for them as well. Things to help share in that regard.
Okay. That's really nice.
I have seen as it has grown, it's a great tool for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a lot of small business marketing. You'll see a lot of creative types marketing their products or their stores. But it's not a pushy, product marketing. It's very, oh, that's interesting. Let me look at it.
Okay.
It doesn't seem, at least for me, and maybe because I tend to not cross my social media, it isn't invasive.
Okay.
So I don't find all of a sudden, oh, look, I know I pinned that. And I've got ads on the right-hand side of something else.
Oh, that's always, yeah, a good one.
So I don't find that.
Now, when you're working with tablets compared to phones or on a computer, how does the website or the app, in this case, respond to the different sizes?
Right.
How does it respond even in a tablet when you're changing orientation? Does it do a
Right.
good job moving from one to the other? Do you run into
I will say
issues?
that you will see with Pinterest itself, it does seem to be okay flipping from side to side or turning the tablet
Does it
itself.
get too crowded going from one to the other on a smaller screen because there's so many pins, or do they
Yes.
keep it concise? Okay.
No, when I prefer to use it on a tablet or a computer. I started on the computer, so when you went to a much smaller device, because you're looking at an image, you tend to want to blow it up, and then you got to blow it up and look around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as easy. So I prefer it on a tablet or a computer.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that, like, I have used it in the grocery store. I can quickly search a recipe and find the ingredients.
Oh, that part is definitely nice on the smaller devices.
Yes. So on the smaller devices, it's definitely usable. It's not impossible by any means. It's just my personal preference.
Okay. And then another big trend moving in the mobile development world and design world is designing for the real world. And I noticed that Pinterest itself is moving a lot with location, and you're able to map out some of these places and things like that. Have you noticed any of those features or used any of them?
I have not yet.
Okay.
But I tend to, I'm not the big explorer. If I find a product, I'll use it the way I've always been using it. So it's probably an age scenario in that regard. I think a younger user would probably grab onto those details much faster than I would. But I have not personally.
All right. And are there any other just major features or major anything that's drawn you to it and made you why you love it and what's so usable and great about it?
Again, it's the organization of ideas and thoughts in a visual file box, you could call it. I can give you an example of some of the things that, I do my daughter's hair for gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
Have a page literally of ideas of how to do that. So when we go to do it on a weekly or monthly basis, she'll look at them and be like, let's try this one. It's visually there. It's very easy. And it's just, it's a tool that for somebody who likes that is great. Yeah. And it's, I can certainly see, based on my creative side, if I were to do this business-wise, how it would be a very good tool in that regard to promote visual ideas.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and that's all we have.
See ya.